Many thanks for staying with us here on Newsers to some more stories now. And Ghana has achieved significant progress on the economic front, education sector, health sector, as well as social protection. Now, that's the claim by government in its latest document suggesting the country's per capita income is higher than that of Senegal, Kenya, and Cote d'Ivoire. The statement also describes Ghana as having made significant gains in several sectors of the economy, having achieved the Millennium Development Goal 1 target of reducing the proportion of poor people by half, among others. Let's delve more into the claims by government, and joining me in studio to take us through that statement by government is joining us is Raymond Akwa. Raymond, so you've been studying this document. Tell us what it says, essentially. Okay,
so what it actually says here is that the GDP per capita in current terms in the year 2015 was higher than that of 2008, and that's by a 5.9%, almost 6% increase. That is true. Now, the current per capita income of Ghana, which is supposed to be the 1,340, is higher than that of Cote d'Ivoire, Senegal, and Kenya. That is what the statement also says. In fact, it proceeds to say that government recognizes that this is not just the indicators people will be looking at, and that real transformation comes with other levels of development. So it proceeds to say that Ghana achieved the Millennium Development Goal 1, which is to do with the reduction of poverty by half in 2013, before the MDGs ended in 2015, a clear 2 year ahead of time. And this, they say, is supported by the Poverty Reduction Program or Progress Report by the World Bank. Beyond this, there are specific benchmarks they want Ghanaians to know in the specific areas where they've achieved specific targeted
So in this document, for instance, it focuses on about 3 areas based on what I saw. Let's start off with education. What does the statement say as far as education is concerned?
The statement specifically tells us that the literacy rate of Ghanaians, especially at the youth level, has increased tremendously, and that as we speak now, we have about 80% of young people in this country who are literate. And literacy, by our own understanding, is your ability to read and write a specific local or international language in this particular case. So that's the change. The other point they also make reference to is the level of people and how they spend the number of years in school. For example, Ghana's mean years in school actually jumped from 37 years, is higher and better than that of Kenya, Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire, and Senegal. And they reference a report by the UNDP to back this particular development in the area. Okay, they say that adult literacy has also improved from 50% in 2008 to 76% in 2015, showing a marked improvement. In fact, the literacy rate, if you see here, when we were in 1991, it was this rate, 21%. We moved on to 80.5% in 2013. And that is how far we've come in terms of the number of people who are literate in this country. And the mean years, which supports the UNDP report, it's also being projected here. That is for education. So some successes being chalked in education is what it actually presents here.
Also, there are some indicators it puts across as far as health is concerned. What specifically does that say?
Government says that much of what it has done in health is not only to provide the infrastructure, it's also to provide specific targeted developments which has improved the lives of many Ghanaians. What it says beyond the very data of have more health infrastructure in the country is also that more people in Ghana are growing older than usual. So comparing 1960 to 2015, of course, in 2013 is the base year for the research, we have people who are living longer. The life expectancy of Ghanaians have improved tremendously within that particular period. And that is something they think we should all celebrate.
But how is that supposed to be an achievement of the government?
Because if you put in good plans on education, if you put in good plans on health, if there are more hospitals, if the very sanitation situation, if people can access health early enough, if they are eating right, if they are providing the right environment for them to breathe the right kind of air, the various diseases that kill people early, let's say the 6 childhood killer diseases, will be abated as early as possible with vaccination so that people can grow older and not be killed earlier or die earlier from some of these diseases. So that's what it compares. It also compares the infant mortality and child mortality rates in the country and seeks to project that, look at what we were in 1993. It was more than 75% infant mortality per 1,000 live deaths. Fast track to 2015, we are now around 42.8%. So the difference here is that we've reduced infant mortality by close to 30% from 1993 to 2015. Comparison made specifically between 2008, which was 53%, to 42%. More than 10% reduction in the number of kids who are dying below 2 years per 1,000 live births. The same can be said of child mortality, where we have reduced it from what used to be 123% in 1993 to 61%, and more than 90% reduction between 2008 and 2015. So these are government indicators telling you that we've done specific things, which is reflecting in the overall data on how we can look at Ghana.
Okay, so now let's look at the area of social protection. What are the gains we are told the country has struck as far as social protection is concerned?
Government lists several of them.
Okay.
Government says that, for example, the NHIS, the LEAP, and others are making tremendous impact. It compares previous years where the NHIS had a coverage of less than 12 million to what's supposed to be some 24 million, which are still benefiting from the NHIS today. That huge gap, it says, is because the active membership has been driven largely by a government effort of expanding it, giving it capitation, and doing the things that needs to be done to improve health at that particular level. It also talks about LEAP and says that we had less than 500,000 households when we commenced the project, but now we have over 150,000 households who are still benefiting from this particular project, and it's supposed to continue. And much of what we are told here goes to the point that, for example, when 1,654 households benefit from LEAP in 2008, now over 144,000 are the ones benefiting as of today. In fact, the IBAN card, which is a card for the elderly people to specifically access priority services, including having access to Metro Mass, is supposed to make the old people who are fragile, who don't have so much money, also be confident that they are part of a system and grow older, mindful of the interventions they put in place. Now, it says 4 Ghanaian people share 1 textbook previously, and they code this to mean 2005. But now, today, 1 people has 4 textbooks. So they have reversed the situation of a number of students who are using textbooks, as was the case in 2006 compared to 2015.
Right. Raymond, many thanks for that update. And that was my colleague Raymond Akwa bringing us more from that statement just released by government a short while ago. We'll be delving into them pretty shortly, and also be getting some reactions from the main opposition party in the country, the NPP, whom obviously have quite a number of concerns with these statistics being churned out by government. But that will be at a later time, particularly on our news and news analysis program, The Pulse, which airs at 3 p.m. on this same channel. Away from that to some more stories now, and a group calling itself Returnees Diaspora Integrated Development Organization is actually opposing a suit filed by the Road Safety Advocates Ghana against government on the use of Maslock tricycles as taxis. Road Safety Advocates Ghana, a non-governmental organization, filed the suit at the High Court on Monday, challenging government on the use of tricycles, usually called Mahama Kambufo taxis. Now, the group says, among other things, that it puts the lives of passengers at risk and also breaches regulations 84, 128 and 130 of the Road Traffic Regulations 2012. It therefore wants the MTTD to enforce that law and also the courts to put an injunction on the use of the tricycles. But in a reaction, the Returnees Diaspora Integrated Development Organization says a ban on the use of the tricycles would affect some of their members who are beneficiaries of the Maslock program. Joining me now in studio is Andrew Ataraweni, who speaks for the group. Andrew, good morning. Many thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
So why are you opposed to this? I mean, clearly, if this is not going to be in the best interest of everybody, the citizenry, such that sitting in such taxis, let me put it in that quote, such taxis may not necessarily be the best thing to do for all of us, why would you still advocate for such a thing?
Thank you very much for having me here. And let me premise my discussion, first of all, to ask what is the basis for this suit? The basis is that the security of lives cannot be guaranteed using this. But who says the security of lives can be guaranteed?
The Constitution of the land says so.
Yes, so we are arguing from the point that no country has ever had the right set of laws, at once. So it is the dynamism of society that triggers that certain laws need to be amended, certain changes need to be done to our existing laws so we can meet the current trends of happenings. We have a very huge population as our membership that are able to, that are beneficiaries of this particular model under the Maslow program. And for that matter, our assessment over the years that they've been using this indicates to us that they are using it to good effect. It is helping people reduce the level of unemployment. It is helping our people who have returned, from, their countries of migration and have come back to Ghana and are not really having anything to do, really able to reintegrate in society very well. So a call to ban this is not just to cut people of jobs, but also to allow the poverty to breed to a highest extent that we wouldn't like as a country.
But some would say that we've moved past the stage of a ban. Actually, it's illegal to use such things for such purposes. So really, are you perpetrating or are you calling for the continuous perpetration of an illegality?
It is not. We are not saying that it's legal. We are not kind of defending the usage of it for taxi. It appears to me you are. What we are doing is that we are saying that you cannot ban the usage of it. If you look at the suit that has been filed, they are seeking, for government to even stop, providing some of these reliefs. And we are saying that no, we can rather look at proffering some, solutions regarding the amendment of the law to allow it to happen. Okada is not allowed. The Okada business is not legally, mandated, but we can see that it's still happening behind closed doors. So, in as much as these are happening and they are helping people, survive economically, it is helping people, contribute their quota to national development in terms of, the economy. It means that we need to sit up as leadership. We need to sit up as stakeholders and see how best we can streamline these people into the mainstream. As I said, laws are meant because of the dynamism that comes in society. So the dynamism that has come now, that these are, usable for taxi purposes, we should allow it. We should, look at whether, enacting laws or proffering laws that are able to contain this situation.
So you are calling for a review of that law that makes it illegal for such vehicles to be used as commercial purposes?
Absolutely, and oppose directly to the suit that our colleagues from the other side are filing, because we think that it is just an attempt to disallow people to benefit and to disallow people or disconnect people from contributing their quota and have a decent living. I'm telling you, if you go into the hinterlands where most of our people are, they are using this particular vehicle to good effect. We have communities where they don't even have good roads connecting, so nobody is willing to take his car there. So in times of maybe carrying farm produce to the market centers, these are the vehicles that are available. In terms of, taking people, offering people the means of transport to the market centers, these are the vehicles available. And you say we should stop that? You say we shouldn't give people that? That is just an attempt to, as I said, widen and continue to entrench the existence of poverty in this country. And that is something I think that all stakeholders agree that we shouldn't allow to exist. So
yourself and your group, what is it that you plan to do to ensure that these people get something to do?
Yes, we are using your platform to call on our colleagues on the other side that let's retract it. Let's look at engaging the stakeholders that are into this, the Ministry of Road and Transport and Highways and DVLA and all the appropriate bodies that are concerned in this issue. Let's re-look at the law and let's look at how to structure these vehicles, to suit what we want, but not to ban it.
Would you not rather look at getting something through Parliament? Because obviously this is law. There's nothing any of us can do about it. It's law.
Sure. So
unless, of course, there's a bit of review somewhere in the law, it will still remain illegal.
But if we can only do that, take these concerns to Parliament if stakeholders have a consensus. And that is why I'm saying that stakeholders need to come on board. We need to agree as stakeholders that this is the phenomenon that has come to stay with us. How do we deal with the issue? And that is the only way we can get this thing resolved.
Right. Okay. Andrew, many thanks for your time here on News Desk.
And
Andrew Ataruweni is with the group that they are also opposing an NGO which plans on suing. In fact, they have actually filed that suit. They've sued government for reintroducing these Mahama Kambus, as people purportedly call them, for commercial purposes. We'll be keeping an eye out on that and bring you a lot more later on. But